Hello, everyone, and welcome to D8Dungeon Drive 2023 for today's very first game in our D8Dungeon Drive of 2023. My name is Marcus, also known as the Chin Individual. Pronouns are he, him, and I am happy today to run on this channel a game of lasers and feelings. But no game is an island. It needs multiple people to run a game together, and I'm also happy to be joined today by a couple of fantastic people who join us in space for Space Adventures. And I'm just going around the table and give everyone a chance to introduce themselves, starting with Alice.
Hi guys, I am Alice Hart. She, they pronouns. It is 7 a.m. for me, so I am not awake yet. You can find me online at Hellion Hart, Alice Hart. Yeah. Should I go ahead and introduce my character?
Yes. Or feel free to quickly also describe your character you'll be playing.
Yeah, I am playing Tefra Basan. They are our hotshot alien envoy for this trip. Nothing was going to go wrong. All the space ventures.
Perfect. All right, going over to the next person at the table, Alistair as Milnet. He's the little guy, and I think most of the crew is already loving him. Glad to have you aboard, Alistair and Milnet. Continuing on with Richard as Johnny Space.
Hi everyone. You can find me on most social media at Lapin Hero. That's French for rabbit. Today I'll be coming to you in the most bodacious guise of Johnny Space, intrepid pilot. That's space pilot. You might know me from the Space Academy, as inventor of splang. That's space slang.
It's an honor to have the Johnny Space here. Thank you for joining us aboard this ship. And last but certainly not least, we have Dara as B1-NG.
Or Bing to his friends. I don't have any friends. I'm playing the android engineer of the ship. You can find me on most places either at CA Red Blair or Dazinator, because I created that name and I thought it was funny, and it haunts me to today. I'm excited. Bing is a piece of work, and I'm excited to see how that plays out.
Awesome. This is a beautiful crew we have here with us today. And we are, of course, raising funds here during the D8Dungeon Drive 2023. And we are raising funds for Trans Lifeline, which is a peer support and help crisis hotline helping transgender people. It is a great organization. We have already, at this point, raised $820 for them. And we try to increase that by at least a gazillion more or something. And you can donate. There's a link. There's some information in chat where you can donate for the fundraiser. And your donations can also help these people out at the table, because for every $5 that are donated, they're going to get a backup dice in a special pool, which they can use in case they need to get all the help they need to survive these space ventures. So if you want to help these people out, and if you also want to help out a fantastic cause, make sure to donate to Trans Lifeline. With all of that being said, how do you all feel about going to space?
Space!
I could take it or leave it, personally.
Well then, it is the year 3333, and we are in space. The Consortium, an alliance of various species, is making sure space is safe and the unknown frontiers are explored by brave and intrepid individuals. It is a dangerous profession to be in, but being part of the crew of a consortium ship offers opportunities to explore new worlds and be a part of great new adventures. This is the story of one such crew, a crew in utter peril. The Raptor, a ship with superior sensors but a grim reputation, is in dire straits. Captain Darcy, a man with a reputation that precedes him for light years, is in the medbay, thrown into a coma due to psychic entity known as something else. The rest of the crew have to take lead and guide the Raptor to safety. However, here, close to the star system Elliot 2020, the crew has found Gehenna, the massive Leviathan-class starship of Zorgon the Conqueror. Long thought to have been cast into the plot twist zone by Captain Darcy, Zorgon has returned with a vengeance. Zorgon seems to have found the coordinates to the Chronoway, a 5-dimensional wormhole known to allow for journeys back in time. Gehenna is heading for it, but it seems to lie in the abhorrent abyss, a galactic dead zone forbidden to be entered. Officers of the Cosmic Order Patrol will be just as hindering as the Conqueror himself. What will the crew do to deal with the COP, Zorgon, and this dire situation in general? We don't know yet, but it will certainly involve lasers and lots of feelings. Crewmates, you are all aboard your ship, and you are aware of this dire situation. As the only, competent people on the ship to run the ship in absence of Captain Darcy, now knowing that Zorgon the Conqueror is heading for the Chronoway, what is it that you are doing?
I think I'm just doing my odd bits in the bowels of the ship, avoiding most people, working on the engines and such.
Johnny Space is in the canteen ordering some delicious mountain spew.
I imagine Tefra is on the bridge because apparently everyone else has abandoned it.
Let's focus on that bridge first there. Tefra, you're on the bridge, and there are indeed a lot of posts that have been abandoned, but you do still see that on the big view screen right now, there is still a video communication link up with the ship of Zorgon the Conqueror. You see this view of just this dark room, just illuminated by some red lights. And it's almost like there's an elevated throne in the middle of this dark room. And seated upon it is this hooded figure with this kind of breathing mask on. And they're just looking through the camera feed at you, Tefra, the only one who's still like paying attention to the camera. And you hear this person, Zorgon the Conqueror, say,
"Where is Captain Darcy?"
I mean, he's passed out in the med bay. What do you want with him?
"I want my revenge. He cast me into the plot twist zone, but in a twist of plot, I have returned. And now I will have my vengeance. But there's not much vengeance to be had when he is not around, now is there?"
No? So, what is it you want?
"I will have Captain Darcy suffer the same fate as I. I will find the Chronoway, travel back in time, and instead of him casting me into the plot twist zone, I shall cast him into the plot twist zone."
Okay, good luck with that. And I'm going to hang it up.
You're just hanging up. Like there's like closing the call.
Yeah.
Milnet, you mentioned you were in a bit of a state of panic right now. I would would it be okay if Milnet would be looking for the right paper while also being on the bridge? Like basically there's like this cabinet on the bridge for the essential forms. Would that make sense for Milnet? So you would come up into the bridge at the moment that Tefra is wrapping up the conversation with Zorgon, just hanging up on this dark evil overlord, and you just briefly catch a glimpse of Zorgon before the communication is ended.
Sorry, who was that? Tefra, who are you talking to?
I'm gonna be honest. He was just doing the weird maniacal laughter thing. I don't. Or something. He wants the captain.
Oh, he can't have the captain. The captain's out. I haven't even filed paperwork for his medical leave yet.
I mean, at this point, you might want to file kidnapping leave because it's apparently the track we're on.
I don't even think we have the forms for kidnapping leave. They haven't been sent out yet. Oh, God. So what's the plan? What are we doing? Who's the captain?
I think Johnny just walks in the room and he's like, "You need a spapton."
You know what? Let him do it.
Johnny Space, he's a wild card.
You know it.
He's been a maverick since day one of this group. Can we really trust him as captain? I don't know why I'm talking about you like you're not here.
I mean, Milnet, if asshole on the phone call wants a captain.
Sorry, what asshole? What did I miss?
Well, Captain Space, I think you're the mortal enemy of some guy on a phone. Congratulations on your promotion.
Okay. First off, don't call me Spapton. Spapton is my dad's name. Just keep calling me Johnny. Secondly, we're gonna rename the ship Spapter for now. We'll come up with something better later. And third, let's brainstorm. What are we doing?
B1NG, you were working on your maintenance, is that correct? Is that
Yes.
As fate would have it, you found out that there is like a few blown out cables that you had to fix, and they lead all the way back to the bridge, where currently you witness Johnny Space taking over as captain of the the Spapter. What is your response to that, B1-NG?
I think immediately I come in and go, that one is captain now?
Unless you would
shorter
like
than
to
the
be
last
captain.
I do not care. He is shorter. Is he fit?
Slightly offensive, but hey.
I mean, it doesn't matter if he's fit. If I'm already halfway through the paperwork, I'm not redoing all this.
But if I need to throw him at the enemy, should he not be bigger?
That's a good point, actually.
It's not about the size of the fight in the spog. It's about the size of the spog in the fight, or something. Come on, we've all fought
Very well.
guys like this before, right?
I mean, worst case scenario, we can throw him and run.
This one has good points.
Johnny Space, as you're now been declared captain, you do see there on the bridge there is a special seat for the captain, and Captain Darcy has made sure that it is as comfortable as possible. has built into its armrest. There's all kinds of buttons for bridge commands, but also access to space flicks and other streaming services. And from there, you could, now that you're captain, take just this annoying like eek, eek, eek.
Yep.
And
no one help. It's okay. I got this.
And the sound of that screeching almost drowns out the sound of an incoming call on the video screen and up on the view screen. And those of you who are currently not dragging the captain's seat over to the pilot part, you notice that the incoming call is coming from Consortium High Command, the highest authority in the Consortium Space Alliance.
Hey guys, it's the fucking cops.
Oh, crap, what will he do? What did we do?
Yeah, Bing says decline.
No, we gotta answer it. It's the right thing to do.
I'm gonna immediately just dash to decline.
Johnny presses a button that like dims the lights in the bridge.
All right.
Sorry.
I think we're going to have our first rolls here to see what happens first. Because we have Bing who's trying to decline the call while Johnny Space wants to accept the call. I feel like this is our first quick roll. And for those who haven't seen Lasers and Feelings before, Lasers and Feelings has exactly one mechanic in the game. When we created the characters, everyone picked a number for the character between 2 and 5. And when you roll, you take a number of dice and you try to either roll for lasers whenever you're doing something rational or something logical, or for feelings when you're doing something out of passion or emotions. If you're rolling for lasers, you want to roll under the number that you picked for your character. And if you're rolling for feelings, you want to roll over the number. Now, for this year, I think, Johnny, you're very much, you're trying to just follow your gut in being the captain and accepting that call. So it would be a feelings rolls for you. And for Bing, is there any kind of rationale for you doing this, or are you just doing this to mess around with the captain?
I don't respect organic authority.
You do not respect organic authority. That would make it for you, let's say, your lasers roll. So what both of you are going to do is both of you are going to take 1d6 and you're going to roll that. So for Johnny, you want to roll over your number because you're rolling feelings, while Bing, you want to roll under your number. So both of you are just going to roll a d6 and tell me the result.
Oof.
Okay.
5.
A 2.
A 2. So you have rolled under your number, if I'm not mistaken, because your number is
5.
5. And Johnny?
I rolled a 5 and my number is 2.
Ooh.
So you rolled over your number, which is, so both of you basically succeed at what you're doing. So what happens, there's this awkward moment where Bing is trying to push the decline button. And Johnny, you said you wanted to turn off the lights or something?
Oh, I imagine Johnny was just pressing buttons trying to answer the call and not knowing which buttons on the captain's chair did what.
So the call is initially declined, and you can see like this call history on the screen, similar to what you see on your smartphone if you look up your call history. And then, Johnny, you're also just pressing buttons. But at first, you press a button to call back someone from the call history, but it goes first over to calling back Zorgon the Conqueror, who is briefly like appears on screen, and you just hear this like,
What is this insult?
and then it's being hung up again, and you call back the Consortium High Command, and as you call back, appearing on the screen is this female-looking feline alien species person. She has her face is covered in fur in this striped pattern of purple and green, and she has slightly glowing yellow eyes. She has a mane that is combed back in a straight ponytail, and she is dressed in a Consortium admiralty uniform, high collar, lots of badges on them, and you do all know that Captain Darcy would be hierarchy-wise way under this person, and you also know her as Admiral Cora, and she looks at you. She sees all of you on the bridge. She sees the captain's chair dragged over to the pilot's corner, and she looks at all of you. I'm sorry. Where is Captain Darcy currently? We have important business to discuss.
Out of habit, Johnny turns around and looks at everyone else.
Dead.
Oh!
What? Captain Darcy is dead?
Probably.
Incapacitated.
Humans lead to death from incapacitation.
Something.
Is that in any way related to our news that Zorgon the Conqueror has returned?
Unfortunate coincidence.
Yeah, I think he drank too much last night, to be honest.
Well, he does have a history of
He's
that.
gonna have a hangover from spell.
Who is taking over his captaincy in his absence?
The short one.
Oh, I'm a temporary captain, Johnny Space. Pleased to meet you. You might have heard of me from the spaghetti.
Oh, I have heard of the Space family. I had the honor of working with your father before.
Oh, Big Johnny, how is he?
Somewhere out in a spiral arm of the Milky Way, trapped in a space-time continuum after not following my orders.
That's so like him.
Yes, I know that the Space family has a proud tradition of misadventures.
Well, you know, you gotta do what's right. Authority is not a birthright, am I right?
No, it is not.
Okay.
Well,
Anyway, what can I do for you, Cora?
well, if I'm correct, the Raptor is currently the only consortium ship that is close to Zorgon's massive ship called Gehenna. And if our intel is right, Zorgon, who should not be here as he was in the plot twist zone, and no one returns from the plot twist zone unless it is a plot twist, he is heading for the Chronoway, a place that we have been looking for ages. But he is not allowed to find the Chronoway. We need one consortium ship to chase him down, find where the Chronoway is, and keep it safe. I would have entrusted this to Captain Darcy, knowing that he does have a knack for defying authority and would enjoy the upcoming mission. But I feel like I have to entrust this to all of you.
We got this, right, guys?
Affirmative.
Yes, sir, Admiral. Ensign Milnet reporting for duty.
It is good to see
Get the
you.
paperwork faxed over to you.
Perfect. I must say, Ensign Milnet, you are doing outstanding paperwork. I have hardly ever seen anyone file documents with such accuracy. I am very pleased to see you serving on this ship.
Yeah, Milnet tries to sort of salute, but his arms are too small, so he can't do that. He just tries to look as regal as he can.
I'm sorry, but that image is too cute.
Right?
Just doing my job. Looking for that promotion if there's any chance. No, I'm not supposed to mention that. That's
I
number
think
one rule not to do.
I think if your competence can also be spread across your entire team, this mission success could spell a promotion for you as well, Ensign Milnet. But there is something important to know if you are going to do this mission. The Chronoway, or the destination that Zorgon the Conqueror is heading to, lies in the abhorrent abyss, a dangerous part of space that is being kept safe by the COP, the Cosmic Order Patrol, a well, let's say, independent law enforcement organization with which the consortium has had some dealings in the past. They are very strict about their rules and laws, and they might add some complications. I do hope that you are capable of navigating their bureaucracy and knack for finding a law that applies to every situation.
I'm sure it won't pose much of an issue for us. I mean, they file all their forms in triplicate. We do it in quadruplicate. They're terribly uncivilized. We'll find our way.
Affirmative, then. I will send you the details via the comm links and the data transfers and via other sci-fi terminology, and you will have some time to prepare for the mission before you're heading out to follow Zorgon the Conqueror. Admiral Korra out. And the connection closes, and what do you do?
I mean, did you hear that, guys? I could become head intern.
You deserve it too. You work hard.
Yeah, we actually have to work. This is the worst gap cycle ever.
It's cool. You're gonna get to meet new people. You love that, right?
Yeah.
Why would I want to meet more people?
Research.
But I already know you're all inferior.
Well, some are more inferior than others. Where do you meet the cops?
The new captain has a point.
If any of you have history with the Cosmic Order Patrol, now is probably the time to let us know.
Bing raises his hand.
B1NG?
I crashed 7 space cruisers into one another.
That's a lot.
At once.
Okay.
It took...
What are we counting as history?
Reasons that they might try and hold us up. Outstanding warrants, that kind of thing.
Let's mark that down as a maybe.
Personally, I was caught doing 6,000 in an education zone, so...
They rejected some of my... I applied for a few jobs with them, but they wouldn't let me in. Does that count?
But it might with them. They're kind of uppity like that. I'm sure it'll be fine. Okay, B1NG, is the ship ready?
Ship is functional.
That's better than usual. I guess this is our ship now. Let's do this.
To space, and more space, then some more space.
Just the way I like it. Johnny starts the spaceship. Let's go.
Let's go. And that is exactly the sound the Spaptor makes as the engines are boosting up, and you are following the coordinates provided by Admiral Korra to you through the fairly colorful parts of space here. People always think space is just black and stars, but you fly by these gas clouds in a myriad of colors. You come through this meteor shower that just passes by that you can see through the view screens and everything. It's actually pretty beautiful, this journey, but at a certain point, you see that all this beauty is just blotted out that ahead of you by this massive spaceship that looks more like someone took a gigantic fortress and just pulled it out of the ground and strapped engines under it. It's just this spaceship fortress. It comes with like Gothic spires and gargoyles seated on them. And the closer you get, the more you can actually pick up with your superior sensors that this ship is actually also playing some very dramatic organ music that is just being projected away from it. And all of you know that this is the Gehenna, the Leviathan-class spaceship of Zorgon the Conqueror, the dark ruler of distant stars, tamer of the void, and also top lacrosse player of his class back in Space Academy. So that figure, that ship is looming in front of you, and you also see past it that there is indeed about, from what your scanners can pick up, about like 0.5 light years away is this tear in space. Just, it actually looks like somebody took scissors and just cut up a bit of space and then tried to patch it up again with like tape, but that tape is coming off. And you see that there's all kinds of chromatic colors coming out of it. And you do know this must be the Chronoway. And however, surrounding the big fortress ship of Zorgon the Conqueror are all of these way smaller ships, very elegant designs, but they have these red and blue sirens on top of them, and they're currently surrounding the ship. And that's the scene that you arrive to, and you see that these small ships with the red and blue sirens on them, they also have Cosmic Order Patrol spelled on the side of them. What do you do, crew of the Spaptor?
Oh, well, looks like the cops got them before we did.
I mean, should we just like let them fight it out?
No,
Enemy of my enemy?
I do not enjoy the authority getting credit.
I mean, to be fair, like, there's a good chance they both might take each other out. Especially with this ship that overcompensating.
Yeah, I heard rumors at the Spacademy.
Would lacrosse be spacross then?
That is correct.
Depends where you play.
My narration was inaccurate. It's Spacross, indeed.
Gotta get the canon right.
Gotta get that branding on there.
So, we could take this opportunity to kind of sneak around. We could. What do you think?
The ship is in good enough condition to maneuver.
Could you make it run quieter?
Hold your
I
breath.
have no breath.
Oh, I meant our
yes.
illustrious
See what
captain.
happens. Why is he changing color?
I don't think members of his species are supposed to do that long.
I don't know. Humans might.
Strange creatures. I think I will try go see if I can make this ship a little stealthier in like the engine room or whatever.
Gotcha. So you head down to the engine bay. Bing, you are a android, but what do you look like basically? Are you like a very humanoid shaped android, or what does Bing look like?
I think Bing is very clockwork. Like it's very humanoid shape, but like just protrusions in places where joints should be.
Right.
Think Bender from Futurama with like more gears.
Excellent. That helps with a good mental picture. So, Bing, you head down to the engine room where like the core of this massive space engine the ship uses to travel is found. There's a lot of other engineers down here who keep tabs on everything, making sure that all the screens show the correct numbers. But you do know for the fact, since they are organics, they cannot keep as well track of it as you could. And they can only watch one screen at a time. If you like stand there, you can watch all of the screens at the same time. But you're going to try and make this ship run a little bit smoother. I feel that would be a lasers roll for you.
Okay.
And you earlier rolled 1d6, but since you're also the engineer of the ship, you can add one extra d6 because this is an expertise for you. So it's 2d6. Okay. And by donations at this point, we already have 6 additional d6 in our pool. So if you want to, you can withdraw from those. any number of dice to make sure that to increase your chances of succeeding.
I'll take 1, so I'll roll 3d6.
All right, roll that d6, 3d6.
Okay, so a 2, a 3, and a 5.
So that means you have 2 of them are under your number, so you already have 2 successes. And 5 is your number, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
So one of them is laser feelings, which makes this extra successful. You have a total of 3 successes on here. And you can, since this is laser feelings, you can also get a special insight into the situation that's going on. I would also say if a special insight isn't useful to you, like if it doesn't rely on any information right now, you could also use the laser feelings to tell me how Bing really extremely succeeds in this. Like imagine things like Bing is not just making the engines is quieter, but somehow improves it in an additional way.
I think I'll use it for a bit of information. I think. To give it a bit of context, I think Bing fixed up the scanners a little bit more, as well as making it a bit quieter. So, can I get a bit of insight into what the situation is like on Space Bowser's castle?
The situation on Space Bowser's castle is, as you're also checking the scanners, is that apparently you pick up on the scanners that multiple agents of the COP are on the ship right now. Your scanners are also picking up parts of the ship itself already has superior sensors, so you can get a lot of extra information. They pick up through the systems of Space Bowser's ship.
Spouser.
Spouser. There we go. Through Spouser's ship, that there's also the COP officers are kind of asking members of Zorgon's crew to stand down as they are breaking certain law XC79X or something. And generally, it seems like the COP is both physically trying to slow them down, but they're also trying to keep them busy with red tape, with bureaucracy. Like they did not, if they want to continue in the abhorrent abyss, they need to file a number of forms. And these seem to be either not be filed or have been filed terribly incorrectly.
They need a Milnet.
Everyone needs a Milnet. Yes.
Yeah.
So.
Sorry.
So that's the extra information you get while also making the engine run so quiet that for a moment, while you're in the engine room, for a moment you think the engine actually turned off because you don't hear a hum. But then you turn around, you look at the screens, it's running at full capacity, but it's so quiet. You've never heard it this quiet before.
So what everybody else in like the engineering quarter sees is Bing feels internal panic because they think they broke something for a second, but since can't show emotions, they just see Bing quietly turn around very quickly. And everyone assumes I'm just doing my job.
Perfect. So with the ship being so super silent, Bing, with that extra bit of information, would that also be something that you share with the rest of the crew?
Yeah, I'd probably go back up to deck and be like, the authorities are held up in bureaucracy.
Law X1 Milnet, you know what that is?
Yeah, it's traveling near a wormhole without a permit. That's how to get you. I'm already working on our own forms, but I think we're missing a few, so I might have to fake a couple, and we haven't got the proper authentications, and oh god,
do we have a
gonna be in trouble with the
machine?
swabs. Yeah, it's running. If you can't hear it, it's going. I've overclocked it.
Very good.
Just so many forms, and everything's in paper, and I have to do it in quadruplicate, and
Milnet,
just give me a bit of time.
As you say that, Milnet, there's another call coming in on the view screen on the bridge, and this one is coming in with the logo of the COP, just this golden star, which has like the letter COP spelled on it. and it's hailing you, the ship in general.
Act cool.
Answer it.
Okay.
Great.
Showing up on the screen is this alien figure, which looks like more like a humanoid frog, which kind of like with this sack around their neck that goes like that, inflates and deflates. But they're also wearing a uniform, a COP uniform, and they're sitting there like, am I correct to assume that this is the ISS Raptor?
Hello, my most righteous space pig. Allow me to pass you to my first officer, Tefra.
Envoy Tefra here.
Greetings, Envoy Tefra. I am a representative of the Cosmic Order Patrol. We have identified your ship as trespassing nearby a wormhole in the abhorrent abyss. We're wondering if you have any of the fitting paperwork.
Hi, this is Envoy Tefra. I'm afraid I can't hear you if there's someone on the line. Hello?
I'm repeating what I'm saying. This
is Envoy Tefra of the Spaptor. I think we've lost connection.
Well, very unlikely. All the
just
numbers
going
are
to hang
green. That's like, hangs up, connection closed.
Very nice.
That buys a bit of time as I get the last few off here.
As you're working on that, Milnet, working off the last forms to get them sent off, the COP calls again.
I ask the what do you call it? You know, the thing that the food synthesizer to get me a bowl of rice, dry rice.
A bowl of dry rice. The food synthesizer can absolutely do that.
Cool. I answer and I just start throwing handfuls of dry rice at the screen. Try and recreate static.
Okay. Can you give me for that a feelings roll? I would say you have 1d6 for that, but we currently have 7d6 in our pool as well. So is there any number that you would like to withdraw from that for your roll?
I'll pull one dice out of that.
All right. So we go minus 1d6, so we're at 66. And you roll 2 for that. And it's a feelings roll.
I've got a 6 and a 2.
And 2 is your number, right? Or
it is, yeah.
So the 6 is definitely a success. The 2 is a success, and we have another round of laser feelings. So with 2 successes, you do your job well in creating the static. But since you also have laser feelings, Johnny Space, you can also ask a question to get more insight into the situation, or narrate in a way how this succeeds even better than you expected.
So first off, when he answers, I'm like throwing handfuls of rice. I'm like, sorry, it's a really bad connection. I can't hear you. And then I don't hang up in the hopes that they'll say a little more than they need to, thinking we can't hear them.
And yeah, you throw that, and the rice just also flies in the correct angle against the camera, that it looks like some really weird kind of static. But also, of course, parts of the bridge are now covered in rice. And you just hear this frog alien person on the other end. You just hear them say, "Oh, I think they're having technical issues. We'll call them back later. Just make sure we have some patrols keeping an eye on them." And bloop, the connection is ended again. But you can also see on your sensors that some of the COP ships are starting to surround the Raptor.
Well, looks like you got some attention. Mildred, how are those forms coming?
I think we're missing some. I might need to, fake some. God, I've never done that before. It's highly illegal.
How much time do you need?
I reckon, well, to do them properly, a couple of weeks. But if I want to rush them, 5 minutes.
Yeah, great. Alright, we need to buy 5 minutes.
Why does anyone ever tell the truth when you can lie in 5 minutes?
Well, because it's illegal to lie.
Only if you get caught.
Suppose, fair enough.
Then let's not get caught. Let's go. And I start the ship.
You're just starting the ship so that you rush away from the COP to give Milnet the time, 5 minutes, to fake a bunch of official forms.
And the ship is so quiet, they probably don't even notice we've gone, right?
That actually does help, since it's like, I mean, they do see your ship, but they hardly can notice that the engines are firing up, and only at the point where the ship is already turning and getting away, there's probably, we cut away for a moment and we see this scene in one of the COP ships. There's like 2 of the officers sitting in there and they're looking, and one of them is like, I think they're charging up their engines. And the other one goes like, no, way too quiet. You always hear things in space. I don't think you hear things in space. No, wait, just wait. And then, boom, the ship starts moving away. And the other couple, I told you it was starting up, but don't belittle me. And then they start chasing you. But that did indeed help you. But so we're having Johnny Space being the pilot here, trying to get the ship away from the COP, while Milnet is also high-speed faking forms. Milnet, this sounds to me like you're going to, under high pressure, trying to make a lasers roll, because you're trying to fake something as rational as forms to make them come across authentic. So if you could give me, you have already 1d6. I would also say you get an additional d6 because you're prepared. You know your forms. You're the lizard on this ship who knows every form. And we do currently have we still got 6d6 in the pool if you want to get a few extra ones for this roll.
Yeah, I think I'll take 1 for it.
All right,
so bring me up to 3.
Perfect. So then you have 3d6 and we have 5d6 in the pool.
All right, I will roll those now.
And that's a lasers roll, so you need to roll under your number.
4, a 3, and a 5. So laser feelings, success, and a fail.
No, we also have so 1 success and 1 success as laser feelings, so 2 successes. While the ship is making this sharp turn, Johnny Space steering it away from the cops, you also hear out in space, because as you know, you hear things in space. You hear the wee woo of the sirens giving chase, but you are working hard on faking these forms. You have just the right forms available to you that you can use as like a basis for your fake forms, for your forgeries. What does it look like when Milnet is doing this form faking under pressure?
I mean, Milnet is just sort of tearing open all the filing cabinets you can find, because obviously we're still using those in the future. Just kind of scratching into things. The pen runs out of ink, so I just have to dip one of my long, sort of sharp nails into it to write with that. Kind of looking over all the crew members having to fake everything about like their family history and all that there sort of stuff. Yeah, Milnet is just scrolling away as fast as he can and throwing stuff into his fax machine.
All right. And since you also got a laser feelings, is there any kind of extra information you would want from this?
I guess I'll slip into one of the forms a request for information that they legally have to respond to if they accept it, sort of hoping I can sneak it in midway through.
What kind of information would that be if they accept this?
I guess what charges they're keeping the Gehenna on.
Okay.
Get like the specifics in so I can sort of work with that.
All right. Yeah, you work that in there. There's like this little legal clause in there that actually says, like, if you accept these forms, you also accept this request for information on the Gehenna's grounds of being kept. And before you know it, you're done with these forms. And Milnet, even though you know these are forged documents, if you didn't know, you couldn't tell the difference. These look very well made, and they are ready to be spaxed over to the COP.
Anything else you need? I've got the forms done. I can get them sent now.
No, that's incredible. Great job.
Aye, Cap. Or Spat. I can't remember. And I pressed the button to send them on.
And the documents even this fax machine also makes the same sound fax machines have always made, like the and somewhere on the other side, the documents arrive. And after a moment, once the documents are sent over, after a moment, there's again a call from the COP on screen for the ship.
Hit the answer button.
All right.
Space pigs.
It's again it's this frog officer. He says like, looks down at themselves. It's just like shakes off that remark. He goes, "I have your documentation here. ISS Spaptor."
We rebranded.
It's because we're in space.
Aren't we all in space?
Then why is your name not
Very
name?
profound.
That makes me rethink things. But that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to follow protocol. And you have followed protocol as well. I've received your forms. And you see this frog person like flipping through the forms. Yada, yada, yada. And legitimate request for information included in the forms. You are authorized to the full documentation on illegal actions committed by Zorgon the Conqueror aboard the Gehenna.
Yes, that's right.
How did that get in here?
That came from your side.
Oh, they must have updated the forms. They never keep me in loop about these things. Let's see. All right, I'm gathering that information for you. You have your legitimate permit for being present near a wormhole, though I must inform you that if you're intending to enter the wormhole, you need to also file for Form 5411XA, and those forms need to be requested at COP headquarters at least 14 cycles before entering the wormhole. But I will be sent.
Couldn't I just enter the wormhole and then go back in time and then request the forms?
Are you telling us you lost the forms that we faxed over?
Oh, Tefra. That's a good one. That sounds like you're trying to throw in a little lie here, aren't you?
Sure.
All right. Could you give me a feelings roll, please? You are a bit of a hotshot, so I would say you already have 2d6 to roll for this. But we do also, at this point, even have 8d6 in our pool. Thanks for everyone for keeping donating and giving us those dice. So do you want to pick any number of dice from the pool to add on top of your 2d6?
Yeah, let's grab one.
Let's grab one. So you have 3d6.
So that's a 2, a 3, and a 5.
And you were rolling feelings, so you were rolling over your number, and I think that's a total of 3 successes and 1 laser feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. So you throw out that remark, and for a moment, the frog person just looks at you, thinking, "Oh no, did you really file those?"
Of course we did. We are a very, very thorough ship. I mean, Milnet, I swear he would never, ever lose that. And I can't believe you would waste our hard work like that. I cannot believe that the COP would ever do something so superfluous and lazy like this.
No, I can also not believe it. This is really not good. I need to make some calls.
Yeah, you're gonna get sanctioned for this.
Yes, I will. Oh no, this is gonna show up on my next performance review, and that's already next week. I will call you back. One moment. Boop. Hangs up.
Stupid inferior.
Hey, Milner, can you forge those forms as well?
Um,
I think we got more than 5 minutes on those.
yeah, I think I know the latest up-to-date version. They sent it out 5 years ago. They probably didn't change it right. That's why I didn't
Yeah,
send
just
it.
backdate it like, what, 2 weeks?
Make it 3. Make them panic.
3 weeks? Okay. Yes, I can do that. And I'll start scratching out a new form.
And considering how good the rolls are so far, Milnet, you would absolutely be able, now that you're also in the flow of faking forms, you can like just get out of form here with your little cute lizard hands. And just a few, like about 50 minutes later or something, the COP calls back, and it's the same frog person officer again. And they go, well, I have double checked my documentation. Do you happen to have a copy of the form that you sent?
I cannot believe you guys are doing this to us. You need to thank Mr. Milnet, Ensign Milnet right here, that he did them in duplicate and is saving your ass.
Oh, is the and the frog person looks over at Milnet. You have a copy?
Yes, but did you have a copy of the form request form? We would need
yeah,
that
sure,
sent
sure.
over.
And the person is like shuffling around. Wait, I'm faxing it over right now. And there's like it sends over a form to request a form from you.
Okay, I'll send back the form request form, duly signed and put into triplicate, as I am more thorough than you guys. And I will send over the correct forms now. And I put my new faked form in.
The form is sent over. The COP officer looks at it. Oh no. It's not just 2 weeks ago, it's 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, you're about to have to pay a fine on that.
We accept credit.
Preferably untraceable.
I was considering of just handing you the permission to also cross into the wormhole. And will you also be pleased with a keychain of the COP as a little gift?
Will they accept a $5 donation to Trans Lifeline? That would be great.
Oh, sure. Yes, I will also make sure that will happen. I think everyone who is witness to this should make sure to make a donation to Trans Lifeline. And I will also send you over the documentation that you have a permit to cross into the wormhole. Keep in mind.
Explanation.
I'm sorry. What did you say?
Explanation.
Explanation. Yes. Keep those explanations coming, and. Keep in mind that this permit is only valid for 2.3 cycles, and that the COP is not responsible for any kind of space-time continuum mistakes you create while being in the wormhole. We hope you have a safe trip, and thank you very much for your patience.
Goodbye, inferior creature, and I hang up.
And as you're adding up, the right forms and everything come through, as you are now at least legally covered to enter into the wormhole, while, as far as you can tell, Zorgon's Space Fortress spaceship is still being kept busy and locked down by the COP, and you could navigate past that ship towards the wormhole.
Cool. I feel like we're just looking to set up position defensively, like if Zorgon attempts to get in. Don't feel like we're going in the wormhole, are we?
Do we want to get the artifact before he does?
Admiral, Cora did state in the mission statement that you should, if possible, try to secure the Chrono Way. And if you are now ahead of him, that would be a chance to do that.
Okay.
I can drop
I
a
could
quick
install it
artifact
into my
retrieval.
left eye.
That could work, yeah. Oh, we don't know how big the artifact is, do we? It could be the size of a ship.
I could have a very large left eye.
So Are you trying to go towards and into the wormhole, or just taking up position around it?
Johnny just calls out to everyone, okay, keep an eye out, because I don't know what a chronoway looks like, and then I just gun the engines.
Gunning the engines as you're moving towards the wormhole. And as you're making your distance there, keeping an eye out for the chronoway, which you have no way of knowing what it looks like, you come closer to the wormhole, and we hear like this very old school 70s sci-fi style ominous sound effects as you approach, like the wow sounds all around this tear in space that is being duct taped up by space tape, or spape, whatever we want to call it. And as you move towards it, as you bring the spaptor closer to it, you hear from behind you the sounds of weapons fired, massive laser beams coming off from Zorgon's ship, the Gehenna, as it's just starting to blow up COP ships. And you you hear as you approach, there's an incoming call again on the view screen, but this time it is just this ominous logo of Zorgon, which is basically just his name in this ridiculously gothic type font. And it has this reddish glow around it, and also like these two red eyes above it. It looks very much like what someone puts together who just found out about Photoshop and found a fun new font. So,
well, yeah, answer.
All right, and
That's Johnny.
As you answer, you see again sitting on his dark throne the dark, ominous, cloaked figure of Zorgon the Conqueror, who is sitting there.
Hi, thank you for calling Pizza Spot.
This is not the pizza spot. I have that on my other quick dial.
I think you called the wrong number. This is definitely Pizza Spot. Would you like to hear about our menu?
I would like to hear about your annihilation.
Hang up.
The screen
We're
goes
the cool
dark
kids.
again.
We're the rebels.
You have no time for some weird, dark, wannabe Darth Vader. But
Gothic's embarrassing.
But as you hang up on Zorgon with his beautiful Photoshop logo, there is another call coming in from the COP.
I'll answer that, and I'll just be like, you got Johnny.
And now seeing in the COP, it's not the frog person this time, but it is basically what looks like Judge Dredd sitting there, like including the helmet and these big shoulder pads. And you hear this person saying, Spaptor, you have filed a request for permit of entering the wormhole. You have been granted this permit, but after a brief review, we have some questions.
Well, unless you got a sporrant, I'm going to put in a request form for you to go spuck yourself.
I was afraid you were going to say that, Johnny Space. What was it again? 6,000 in an education zone?
You don't know I was driving.
Oh, we have proof. Eyewitnesses and space pictures. And
We
you
should've
see
posted
showing
those
up on
space
screen,
pictures.
there's a picture of you without the sunglasses and just this completely ridiculous face. And maybe also like on the seat next to you, like a 6-pack of Spountain Brew or something. And just this collection of 6 pictures of you speeding in space.
How did you get those? My Facebook is set to private.
Nothing is private for us, Mr. Space.
Can I do something?
Oh, what would you like to do?
I would like to make this a conference call with Zorgon.
You're turning this into a conference call?
Yes.
All right.
I'm tired of the cops.
Yep, that's fair. So you press a few buttons, and there's like the view screen goes into split screen mode, like moving fake Judge Dredd to one side, and then the other half shows up that you're calling Zorgon. Again, that gothic fun type logo showing as you call him, and he picks up, and you hear Zorgon say,
Oh, you've decided to. Wait, is this a conference call?
Yeah, Zorgon, the cops are calling you a little bitch. We really thought you should know that.
you see you see the not Judge Dredd going like, I resent that. I would not call Zorgon something like that.
Wow, you're really lying to us up in here? You guys all heard it, right?
I am a machine under code 7455552. I cannot lie. He called you that.
And you hear Zorgon.
Judge Fred, you dare call Zorgon the Conqueror that? Did you see what I did to your ships already? As I make my way to the Chrono Way, I will annihilate the rest, and then the Spector.
And then Judge Fred goes and replies, Oh, I think quite the opposite will happen, Zorgon the Conqueror. We shall collect your due payments on various fines, then destroy your ship, and then destroy these interlopers.
Hey, Johnny. Johnny, get us out of here.
Should we just hang up our end and just leave them talk to each other for a while?
That seems wise.
Really quietly start the ship and start moving.
The ship's already quiet. We're fine.
So you just hang up, leave them alone in the call, and
They seem busy.
you just bloop, go out. And for as much as you don't know how long the two of them will keep calling with each other before they know that you've hung up on them. But you indicate that you're also moving the ship away. Are you still trying to because both the COP and Zorgon are still trying to get to the Chrono Way. Are you trying to now use this as an advantage to get there before them?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. All right.
Can also could we ping those big sensors the ship has? Try and find detect anything that might be a Chrono Way.
Can we triangulate?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
yeah, because you do absolutely, since you also picked during our character creation for your ship to have superior sensors, your sensors can absolutely ping into the direction of the wormhole. And you see these strange things showing up on your sensors because once the signal goes into the wormhole, it shows timestamps of the signal entering the wormhole before you actually send it. Like the signal itself is traveling back in time. And you do, however, once, especially I would say Bing, who's the engineer, knows how to mess around with that data and get out the necessary information. You do know that not long after entering this wormhole, there is this kind of planet in there. And on that planet is some kind of strange object that seems to be the source of this time distortion. So yeah, you would have coordinates that once you enter the wormhole, you could navigate there and hopefully get there before Zorgon and Judge Fred come upon you.
So, if I do a U-turn in the wormhole, will I crash into myself coming out, but then I won't go in the wormhole, so I won't come out? That's not important. Sorry.
Yeah, somehow, even though Bing does not have emotions, Bing gave you all that information, you said that, and somehow Bing still looks disappointed at you.
You think I don't know that look? I'm used to it.
And with that line, the ship quietly moves away from both the Gehenna and the COP ships and heads towards the wormhole. As we are heading for our break for this stream, we're going to take a 15-minute break just to make sure that we refill our engines, make sure we're good to go for the second half of this adventure, and we'll be back in 15 minutes. Hang around, keep donating. I'm just going to double check at how much are we at this point. We're at 920 euros. Thanks everyone for donating already. Thanks for being here, for supporting this cause. And we hope to see all of you in the second half in 15 minutes. See you in a few. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the second half of our Lasers and Feelings game here on the D8 Dungeon Drive 2023, raising money for Trans Lifeline. In our first half, we have met the crew of the Raptor/Spaptor. We have dealt with bureaucracy. We have had some very diligent last-minute paperwork being forged on here, and we ended right before our break by having the crew of the Spaptor navigate the ship into a wormhole, which seems to contain a planet with the Chronoe, some kind of strange thing that can twist around time, but an object that also Zorgon the Conqueror wants, and the COP, led by Judge Fred, are trying to make sure that no one without a warrant and a permit is entering this wormhole. At this point, our crew, in a very quiet Spaptor, has navigated away from the COP ships and from the fortress spaceship of Zorgon, and you are making your way to the wormhole. This tear in space as if cut open by a scissor and then patched up again with duct tape, spucked tape, and you are approaching this strange opening as you notice the ship slowly crossing the threshold into the wormhole. At first, you don't notice anything, but then you have this sensation as if everything aboard the ship gets dragged out like some kind of stretchy rubber, and everything becomes elongated as the ship is being pulled into the wormhole. All the words you say, they start echoing, and all the lights on the bridge, they show all these warning signals. All of the engine is running hot and too cold at the same time. Dates and times start changing on all the displays. At one point, it indicates that it's 500 years in the past, and then 6,000 years into the future. You see ghosts of people running across the ship, people who used to serve on this ship, and maybe people who in the future might crew this ship. But after a few moments, but also an eternity of this, everything normalizes. And you are in a part of space that is illuminated by 5 suns as a backdrop for a large red planet from which the signal that your superior sensors had picked up emanates. Whatever this planet is, whatever this place is, the Chronoe is nearby. What, crew of the Spaptor, are you going to do?
Well, I've finished up the artifact retrieval form. If you all want to sign it, get your names on it, I can get this all official for us.
Somehow Bing's handwriting is in bold font.
That's pretty inefficient, Bing. You're using up a lot more ink on the page, but okay.
My name is bigger. I'm superior.
Well, come on. Meeting the Cosmic Order Patrol, didn't that, like, change your mind about any of that? Some organics aren't as bad as other organics.
Oh, you do have levels of inferiority, yes.
Hey, I'll take it.
But you are all lesser.
You got a lot of friends? No, that's,
You have friends?
Does Johnny Space have friends? Oh, God. I have the most excellent friends. Ask anybody.
Name 2.
Name 2, yeah. That's not us guys.
Milnet.
Oh, I got my first friend, guys. That's another step up in Milnet's career.
I'll have you know I was very popular at this academy.
Mm-hmm. How long ago was that?
6 spears.
Wow, you peaked in college, huh?
I got big shoes to fill. I'm the son of Johnny Space. Grandson of Johnny Space.
And I am the offspring of Ambassador Basan.
You got a pretty good attitude for a rich kid.
You don't.
Oh, the spaces aren't rich. No, we can't keep money for spit. My mom got into a pyramid scheme. It was a whole thing. Let's not get into. Let not pull the ship into like rotation around the planet.
Right. You get the ship into like an orbit with the planet, and your sensor is also gathering information. This planet, though, from space it looks very red. Probably the colors come mostly from the red clouds that cover most of the planet at this point. And you can see through some of the openings in the clouds that there seem to be green oceans on there. And you also get data about temperature. Temperature is very mild, acceptable climate. Most of you could maybe, depending on your species, you might need some kind of suit to go down there. But for most of you, the temperatures would be acceptable. That seems to have a rather slow rotation, and the scans also show up that there are a few traces of non-natural structures on there. There are parts of the planet where you pick up some kind of architecture, but the scanners are not picking up any life signs down there. So it also triangulates the location of the signal from the chronoway that you have picked up, giving you a nice little vector angle to set down if you want to go down with the ship. I don't know, would the Spaptor go down, or would you take like a shuttle down there if you were inclined to go down to the planet?
Yes.
It's probably best to bring the whole ship in case they come after us and they can't just shoot down the ship while we're not there.
Or take it.
Yeah.
Going
I
down.
worked hard on this. I don't want it leaving.
Yeah, I guess it sounds like we're going down.
Would you say that Bing is emotionally attached to the ship?
I think Bing, as it is not an organic life form, thinks the ship is superior and is emotionally attached.
All right. You make your way down then to the planet with the ship. I wouldn't say there's a perfect landing site. There's like a place where as you set down the ship, some of the nearby trees, they seem to bend away where you put down the ship. But eventually you have safely put it down on the planet. What kind of, if all of you are going out on the planet, what kind of equipment are you taking with you here? What's everyone's loadout?
Jetpack.
Perfect. Johnny Space comes with the jetpack.
Probably like a full set of tools.
A fully equipped, fully decked out toolbox.
Yeah, like, do you know, like some people have the bandoliers of like guns and stuff, like drills and just bits and like spanners, hammers, just across.
Do we get like this gear up scene where we see Bing
Of
like putting
course.
in all of
Yeah.
them?
I look like Cable from the X-Men if he was a handyman.
Perfect.
I think they're gonna bring a phaser and one single communicator.
One single communicator.
Hey, that's on everyone else if they want to bring their own thing.
Perfect.
I imagine most of Milner's suit up scene is him trying to fit into a lizard-sized space. But he will, of course, bring his trusty briefcase with inbuilt fax machine and some paper, and his own small business phone or communicator.
What does his business phone look like?
It looks like one of those 90s phones. It's really way too big, way too clunky, especially in the lizard's hand. And he's got a little thing he can slot onto his back for it.
I'm just thinking of Milner like pulling out the antenna and everything from that phone. Just huge.
The buttons are too small for his fingers, so he has to dial with his steel.
Perfect. I'm just envisioning this gear up scene of everyone putting this on, Milnet making sure that the tie is on correctly as well, and all of you stride out of the ship as you're coming down here on the planet. You are in what looks like a very dense jungle area. These massive trees surround you. You can hear birds and the likes. There's also the buzzing of insects, but in the distance, you see, covered by roots and foliage, there's this massive stone building that is just looming up ahead of you. And with whatever kind of tools you have with you to also use the sensors of the ship, you see that there's, in that direction of that massive stone building, that's where this signal from the chronoway is coming from.
Did anyone check on Darcy? The computer would tell us if he was dead, right?
I've assumed he
yeah.
is.
At this point, do we actually care?
I never did.
I mean, legally, the computer has to tell us if he's dead, so I think that's a good sign.
Does the computer tell if it's the cop?
I'm not sure. I don't
If
know
not,
what.
it's extortion.
You, as you're considering this, what the computer has and has not to legally tell you, you are surprised by suddenly laser blasts coming from the undergrowth. There's like the pew, 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 lasers firing towards your direction and towards the ship. What do you do?
Jetpack out of the way.
I think, I'm like, I have no time for this. I get on the ship and go to like one of the turrets.
And just using the turrets to return fire.
Yeah, I'm like, I have no time for this.
I mean, I think lizard instinct takes over. I run for the nearest rock and start to bury myself.
Does Milnet run on all fours?
Strangely, no. He runs on two, on his back hind legs.
Oh, Milnet is legally
he does
not
scramble.
allowed to be hurt.
He never managed to file that form in time. He can be injured.
Tefra, what do you do as response to the laser fire?
They kind of like, how far off is the laser fire?
Maybe like about like 10, 15 meters off.
Yeah, they're just gonna like, hey, I'm going back inside the ship, but if whoever you are, if you keep shooting, you're probably gonna end up dead because the machine with no feelings is the one on the gun.
And that actually leads me to a roll that Bing is going to make. Since Bing, you went back in there and you're just manning the turrets to fire in response. That would be, as you are a cold, unfeeling machine, you can roll lasers for that. Okay. That's 1d6 base die. I wouldn't say as an engineer you're not an expert on those guns, so we start at the 1d6, but we do still have an impressive 12d6 in the pool. Would you like to take some dice from that?
I'll take 2.
Take 2. Perfect.
Let's do it. Oh no. That is 2 failures and 1 success.
Oh, okay. So 1 success means that you barely manage what you do. And you're firing in the direction of the attack, and it's just such an unfair comparison. Like, there's someone down there who's shooting at you with what probably is like a laser rifle or something, and you're responding with an actual spaceship turret firing there. And you start firing through trees that start collapsing. One of them almost hits Johnny Space, who was flying away with his jetpack. Another one actually helps Milnet get into cover, who has found a nice rock to get behind, but one of the trees just falls in front of the rock. So Milnet is safely behind cover at this point. But your goal of hitting who's ever firing, at first, after you let loose that barrage, there's just dust and wood chips flying around. But then there's one final pew beam of laser that's firing at the ship and is deflected by the hull of the ship. But there's also just this side of pure destruction around the ship where you have unleashed the cannon, the turret.
I just used like the announcement to say that was a warning shot. I missed on purpose.
Told you so.
From the wreckage, you see a person getting up from behind one of the shot-over trees. And at first, you think it's Johnny Space. But then you look closer, and it is basically, it looks like an older version of Johnny Space. Has like these gray streaks in the hair. There's this scar over one side of the face. And this Johnny Space actually has like a cigar in his mouth. And Johnny, you see this other Johnny Space as well. And you know, that's your father, Johnny Space.
I just land behind him and I give him a big bear hug.
And Johnny Space Sr. returns the hug. Is like, well, darn, Junior. I thought that you were some kind of, I don't know, COP thugs coming down here.
Do I look like a cop to you?
Dad,
nah. What are you doing here? What are you doing here?
Well, it's a long story, son. I was sent on this mission by Admiral Cora. She gave me orders. And you know I don't like orders. So I ended up in this space-time continuum somewhere in a spiral arm of the galaxy. And somebody got on this strange planet. There's a strange thing in there. Some kind of... It's a clock. But it's running backwards.
That's a chrono way, Dad?
No way.
Yeah.
That's the chrono way.
Yeah,
should have figured it.
Cora asked us to get it too. She thought you weren't gonna do it.
So I can still complete the mission.
We can complete the mission.
Father
and Dad, first time. Woo.
The spaces reunited. I'm so sorry for firing you and your friends. And Johnny Space Sr. is like stepping out, looking at Tefra. Sorry for almost hitting you.
Guys, this is my dad.
Bing, I think there's two of them.
Being on a communicator to Tefra goes, so do I fire or?
Maybe hold.
That's up.
Okay, I'm in the cockpit just ready, waiting for the order.
Communicator, like it's all good.
They switched channels.
Yeah.
So looks like my son got himself a crew.
Temporary captain of the ship.
Don't you mean Spapton?
You know it. Look, so quick rundown of the most unexcellent situation we found ourselves in. Zorgon probably right behind us. Gotta get the crowd away.
Zorgon? But Captain Darcy sent him to the plot twist zone.
Plot twist, he got out.
And to add onto that plot twist, while you're sharing this information, the clouds above you are parting as you see coming into orbit Zorgon's massive ship, the Gehenna. But it is currently chased about 24 COP ships that are chasing it towards the planet as well. And it seems to be slowly descending, not too far away from your location, as do the COP officers coming down in their ship.
Hey, Bing, if we have any camouflage, this is probably the time to use it. The fucking cops are here.
I changed my channel over to Milnet, and kind of go, you seem like an expert in camouflage. How do we hide the ship? I cannot see you.
Yeah, all you can see is just sort of a tail sticking out of the dirt. As Millet sort of realizes the situation's kind of a little calmer, he kind of shakes himself free. Okay, so first thing, we need to bury the ship in the dirt. That's how you get away from the birds on my planet. Does it have a shaking protocol? Does it have claws?
Oh, can I set the ship to vibrate?
You can.
Like, I can put it on ring, silent, vibrate.
The magic finger protocol.
And I just make a call to the ship and the entire ship vibrates.
As every good consortium ship, this one also has a mute and a vibrate function. So you could, if you go down to the engine bay, you do know that the regular vibrate option might not be strong enough to like really dig into the soil. But you made the engine run silent. How hard can it be to make the ship vibrate even harder to dig into the soil?
Yeah.
So would you like to try to have, through the power of vibrations, dig the ship into the soil?
I would love to do that, actually. That sounds like a great idea.
You could give me for that a lasers roll. You have 2d6 baseline on that. But we also still have 10d6 in the pool. Would you like to add some to that?
What do we think? Do I add anything?
We have plenty, and hopefully plenty more.
Yeah. You can add 2 more vibrations if you donate. All right, I'm going to take, again, 2 more. I'm going to roll 4.
4
After my
again.
failure
All right.
last time.
All right, let's see if you can pass the vibe check.
What? Oh no. Oh no.
So that is 3 failures and 1 success.
Oh, Bing.
I have a 5. I have the most chance to succeed. I roll 3 6s.
So
Can someone help?
you are emboldened by your success that you had earlier with making the ship run silent. But maybe whatever changes you made to making the ship run silent make it a lot harder for making the ship vibrate now. And as you start tweaking around, you do notice the ship starts shaking a bit. And you can see on the outside, we see that some of the soil is loosening up. But at a certain point, only one part of the ship vibrates. So the ship starts tipping over, and it's just halfway starting to dig itself into the ground. So we know if one half of the ship that is underground, and the other one sticks out like some kind of insect that fell on its side and is now partially buried. Also, Bing, you are still in the ship, and the engine bay is now flooded with sand as you're in there.
Well, luckily,
Oh,
I
it
have
really does
I
get
have
everywhere.
my tool bandolier, which I assume has a shovel on it.
Oh, absolutely.
And I just, in what either is a great or very futile attempt of like, do you know when like a ship is taking on water and you push the bucket and then put it over to the side? That's me with sand. As I try to escape the best of my ability.
While you're doing that, Bing, the rest of the crew who's outside of the ship, you notice that the ship has tipped over, is now partially buried in there. But what you also notice that through the part of the forest that Bing fired away with the turret from the ship, you now see groups of people coming your way. You see, leading a group of completely black armored cyborg soldiers is the hooded and cloaked figure of Zorgon, who has a legally distinct laser sword in his hands, and which is glowing, of course, red, because black and red are his colors. And he's charging towards them, and you can hear him go like,
Get them! Kill them before they can reach the Chronoway!
but following those evil-looking dudes and dudettes, there is also the COP, the officers of the COP on foot with their guns and everything, and they are led by Judge Fred, who has these big-ass shoulder pads, eagles and everything on them, intimidating visor on, and he's just shouting, "Find them! Find all of them!" And they're just, both of these groups are coming into your direction, but they're also trying, some of them are trying to go to the structure, which hosts the Chronoway. What are all of you doing?
Any chance we have a legally distinct Land Cruiser?
I'd say there is one in your ship's bay, but right now the ship is tipped over, and you would have to go into the tipped over ship and try to drag it out forcefully.
There's so much span on the ship.
Hey, Bing! Bing, bring the car!
Bing is like, inferior life, getting me stuck in his ship. Ship's great. Stupid. Oh, hello? Oh, yeah, okay. And I just like press something on like a data pad and just send one out.
Okay, since the legally distinct land speeder is also in parts of the sand or span covered parts of the ship, Bing, can you give me another lasers roll to see how well it succeeds to get that land speeder out of there? You have 2d6 baseline, but you can still add a few more dice on there if you want to.
I don't think I will. After last time. Okay, 2 successes.
There we go! Woo! You find the right buttons, and for a brief moment you think that whatever kind of parts of the ship's bay hold the speeder, that their wires are jammed or something, because at first the buttons are not responding. But then you hear through the speakers, "Legally distinct land speeder launched." And on the outside of the ship, you see that there's a little door opening, and poof, coming out of it is your own vehicle, your car, which is now outside. Which has enough space for all of you to climb onto if you want to. But what else are you going to do next?
I want to grab my dad by the shoulders. I'm like, I know this goes against everything you stand for, but you need to help the cops.
What are you saying, son?
I know. I can't believe I'm saying it either. But the spenemy of my spenemy is my friend.
And you see Johnny Space Sr. looks at you, and there's like this moment where there's just this one cool tear coming over his cheek. He puts his spandly hand on your shoulders, and he looks at you. "You're so wise, son. I'm gonna help the cops. If you can get to the Chronoway, we might not see each other again. But then again, time is kind of weird here anyway, right?"
You say that every time I leave the house. And I run and I jump in the driver's seat of the land speeder.
Not to make a touching moment worse, but does that mean the guy in the weird, edgy costume is actually the enemy and not the cops?
I thought the cops were our enemy.
It's a complicated situation. We have woven a very intricate story here with many tones of gray.
I think in the meantime, Bing is hurrying to repair the ship as it's sinking slowly.
You can make your way eventually out, and the last thing you see as you get out of the ship, you see that it just starts sliding further into the ground. It's almost like the Titanic hitting an iceberg, but now it's just like sinking into the sand and soil.
Bing falls to their knees. "I will avenge you. Or dig you up, one of the two."
Not to break up this touching moment, Bing. But we have to move. If you want, we will steal one of the cop cruisers for you.
But that's fine. And you just see Bing somehow go from like a crouching position to a full sprint towards the land speeder.
Milnet!
Yeah, Milne is full sprint to land speeder, which is going to take way longer than anyone else because of his short, short legs. He's going to try and scramble up, probably not very successfully by himself. Kind of just hang on to whatever he can.
Perfect. So we
Don't
have
make the doorways for him.
we have all the crew on the land speeder as you're making your way to that building. Very impressive stone building, steep stairs that the land speeder, due to its legally distinct technology, can also just go up the stairs. And you make it to the entrance of this large, dimly lit room. From some angle, there's like this Gregorian choir music coming as you're entering this room. And in the middle of this dimly lit room, the only thing that's not dimly lit but brightly lit is a pedestal, and on it, the chronoway. A clock with clocks inside the clock. The little arms of the clock, they have their own smaller arms which point to other clocks. It's clockception all the way down, and all these clocks, they're ticking in different directions. Some clocks are actually balls and they're ticking in 360 degree. It's confusing to look at, but also intriguing to look at. All of you enter. Only the Gregorian choir sound. Your footsteps. And then, stepping out of the even dimmer lit shadows of this dimly lit place, is a dark figure.
You're too late, crew of the Spectre.
Zorgon.
What did you say? Sorry, I can't hear you over the...
Do you need a cough drop? I've got a few in my briefcase.
I'm sure there's an inhaler on the ship or something if you really need something, man.
Well, I do honestly think that it's the choir music that's making me harder to hear.
Sorry, it isn't helping. You're just still speaking.
Just wait 1 moment.
Okay.
You sound like a nerd.
So Zorgon turns towards another part of the shadows, like,
Guys, could you cut it out for a while?
and you just see this group of Gregorian monks standing there who are like, shut up immediately. And it's just one guy like, oh man, you're trying to set the mood for once, and they're already like, and then Zorgon,
I think you did great.
oh thanks man, thanks. And then Zorgon returns.
All right, where were we? Oh yes, crew of the Spectre. Turns out you're too late.
You still sound a little muffled, man.
Yeah, it wasn't the great. They were doing great.
And he
Do you
just
want to come a little bit closer, actually?
I'm gonna come closer to the chronoway.
and he starts running
No, to
towards
us. We can't. Okay.
Jetpack.
Yeah.
jetpack. Johnny, you're throwing on your jetpack.
Gonna beat him to the chrono way.
Milnet,
I'm gonna try and grab onto Johnny's leg.
I'm gonna
Milnet,
just start
Go.
throwing like spanners and hammers at Zorgon.
what does Tefra do?
I think she just tries to shoot Zorgon in like the leg or something.
So we
Imagine
have
being shot in the leg and being hit in the head with a hammer.
so we have Johnny Space on with his jetpack. Milnet is holding on to Johnny's leg to like jet forward. Tefra is just firing with the laser at Zorgon, and Bing is throwing spanners, like literally throwing spanners into the works of this evil's plan. And I'm gonna think each of you is gonna make a roll here. I'm gonna start out with Johnny and Milnet. Could both of you, Johnny, what you're doing, definitely like this impulsive, rash action, that's definitely a feelings roll. Milnet, what is your intent in holding on to Johnny? What's your goal here?
Well, Milnet has grabbed out a sheet of paper from his briefcase that he's been drafting this entire time for a restraining order against Zorgon, and he just needs to get close enough to serve him.
Perfect. All right. Could I get a feelings roll from Johnny Space and a lasers roll from Milnet? Both of you will have 2d6 as a baseline. but you can still draw from the pool. We have 10d6 again in the pool. People keep fueling this madness. So if you want to draw any number of dice from that, just let me know.
I'll pull one.
Yeah, I'll pull one as well.
All right, so then we get -2 for that, and you can both roll 3d6.
4, 5, and a 6. So that is 1 laser feelings and 2 fields.
3, 5, 6. Those 3 successes.
3 successes, but
Okay.
so you were going. Johnny was going for a feelings roll, so that's 3 successes. But for Milnet, then that was a lasers roll. So there is a laser feelings in there, and was there any successes?
No, 2 fields, 1 laser feeling.
Okay, but you still got a laser feeling in there, so there's at least 1 success. And since it's a laser feeling, I would say that you do succeed at what you're doing, and you can also either get some extra information or add something extra to your success, Milnet. So you were serving the papers to Zorgon. Is there anything you want to tack onto that? Anything extra you want to do?
Yeah, as we're sort of launching for the air, I noticed a disappointed Gregorian choir, so I'm going to take out a few standardized letters of termination, and I'll tell them that Zorgon want me to give them to them, to hopefully get them on our side.
With all that, Johnny having 3 successes, Johnny, how cool do you look flying at Zorgon with your legal lizard with you? And how cool does that look?
So cool. On a scale of 1 to 10, like a 9. I'm doing spirals. I dodge a spammer on the way.
As you help bringing Milnet close to first deliver papers to Zorgon, but also throwing them over to the Gregorian choir. And the lead monk looks at the papers and is like, screw this guy. Let's go, guys. Let's go singing. And they go into this epic Gregorian choir song, like to really give a backdrop to the scene, which still leaves us with Tefra and Bing. Tefra, you're firing at Zorgon, just like a real hotshot action here. Can you give me a feelings roll? You have 2d6 as a baseline. And Bing, you're throwing spanners, just throwing them at him. To me, please correct me, but to me it doesn't really feel like a lasers thing at this point, because it's more like just throw what works, whatever I have left.
That makes logical sense.
Yeah. So I would say both of you do a feelings roll. Tefra has a base of 2d6, but Bing, you have 1d6 only. But the good news is we do have 8d6 still left in the pool.
I have to roll a 5 or a 6, so I'm going to take 3.
3 for that, so you can roll with 4d6.
I'll take 1.
You take 1? All right.
That's a 3, a 1, and a 6.
So that is with feelings, that would be 2 successes that you have there.
And a laser feeling.
And a laser feeling, yeah.
So I got 1 laser feeling and 3 fails.
Tefra, where do you exactly, with your blaster shots, with your laser shots, hit Zorgon as he's being served papers, and all of this is underlined by a Gregorian choir?
I want him to I want to go directly for the knee so that he's forced to fall into a kneel before Milnet.
At the exact moment where you kneel down, where the shot hits, Zorgon kneels down, the papers are served to him, and Milnet can actually look down at this evil overlord. You had a laser feelings in there as well. Is there anything extra you want to tack on there? Anything cool? Is it like a cool flourish or something you do?
No, but if we can get more information.
What kind of information would you like to have?
If there's a hidden weakness for Zorgon or something that we haven't already hit.
basically, you would get the thing that all this teamwork you're putting against him here, that's his weakness. The power of a good working team together. And you're basically using the power of friendship against him. Which, with Bing, who had you also had a laser feelings on there, right?
Yes.
So that's at least one success and a laser feelings, and you were throwing spanners. So there are some of these spanners hit Zorgon. Like he fell on his knees. He has to sign certain papers, and now there's also spanners raining down on his head. Is there any kind of extra information you want, or any kind of thing extra you want to add on to this?
I think it's in this moment where Bing has been reduced to just throwing anything. That Bing internally says, "Am I superior? Am I just like the organics?" And then he hits him in the head and he thinks, "Oh, well, no, I'm pretty good."
And with that, Zorgon, on his knees, spanners having rained down on him, having caused a moment of introspection for one of the characters here, he looks at all of you and he goes,
No! Foiled by the power of teamwork! Oh!
And
While he's
yeah,
down, can I steal his keys?
you want to steal his keys for his ship?
Yeah, we don't have one.
You can easily take the keys, and he has quite a collection of keychains on there as well, like a few very cute ones. And you have the keys to his spouser ship. But there's also the Chronoway in reach for all of you here, as you're all as you're close to this pedestal with Zorgon down, and then you hear behind you dragging himself up, this exhausted Judge Fred, covered in laser burns and everything. And at the entrance to this room, raises his pistol. And at the moment that Judge Fred wants to fire, there's a poof behind him. Judge Fred collapses, and Johnny Space Sr. stands in the opening, in the doorway. We did it.
You killed a cop.
You got
that is a superior being.
Johnny Space Sr. winks at Bing, and then looks at all of you. I think we should take the Chronoway and hit the highway.
I grab the Chronoway with one hand, and I hold my other hand out to Zorgon.
What? What are you doing?
You and I used to play pretty good Spacross together. Maybe it's not too late. This could be your Spedemption arc. What do you say? We don't need no time-traveling artifact to change time. We're gonna rewrite everything right now, you and I. What do you say?
Cross. I remember those fields. Our fields of glory. I thought you had forgotten, Johnny Space. You never responded to my Spacebook friend request.
Oh, I never go on there. Sorry.
Oh.
And Zorgon looks around.
Yes. Let's join forces. Let's spread across the galaxy.
And reaches out to your open hand, and the hands clasp. The Gregorian choir changes musics to a happy theme as much as that is possible with a Gregorian choir, and we're moving into a bit of an epilogue for this, as the party has recovered not just the Chronoway, they found Johnny Space's father. They have got the Chronoway and the keys to their own massive spaceship. And I just want to briefly go around the table and give everyone a chance of doing a little epilogue for their character. Starting out with Tefra. Tefra, what happens with Tefra after the adventures of this Lasers and Feelings?
Well, Tefra keeps the ship. It's their ship now. They spend the next 16 like solar cycles on their gap cycle. You know, having fun, spucking the space police. They might have collected some warrants, but once they're an ambassador, it just kind of goes away. Diplomatic immunity and all that.
Exactly. Perfect. With Tefra further dealing with the COP, I wonder, what does Milnet do after this mission? Where does Milnet's career go?
Well, before any of that, Millen has so much paperwork for the onboarding process for Johnny Space and Zorgon, sort of getting them in, clearing up getting rid of the restraining order he made, because that's going to be pretty bad for, it's like a 2-year process, sort of going through all the judges and all that, and making it all legal. And I guess at the end of it all, he finally gets the promotion he's been looking for his entire life. He is now a veteran intern.
Veteran intern Milnet. We salute him. And Milnet follows his career further on. And where does Johnny Space go from here?
I don't think you see Johnny Space. I think you see Johnny Space's dad, Johnny Space, sitting with the chrono away. And he's looking deeply into it. And you see Johnny and Zorgon doing the community work together. He's helping Zorgon get back into the community and really build up again after everything that went wrong. And then it flashes forward again. You see Johnny giving a speech at a podium, and he's like, "My most bodacious Americans, as first president of Earth, I am honored with Vice President Zorgon to accept this position. We're going to strap giant engines to Australia and take this shit somewhere crazy. Yeah!"
And the crowd goes wild for President Johnny Space and Vice President Zorgon as we move over to what happens to Bing after this mission.
Well, I think first of all, Bing is delighted because we've raised $1,000 during the stream. But the first thing Bing does is when they leave the temple, use the MacGuffin to lift the ship up, like rewind its time. Unfortunately, Bing does forget that the captain's on the ship and does not rewind him, so he is buried in the ground. But my ship is back. And Bing follows along Spouser's castle with the Spapter. Kind of just spreading word of how great Bing is and how slightly less good the crew of the Spapter was.
And we actually see the camera panning away from the planet that held the Chronoe as the Spouser ship moves away, followed by the Spapter. Still some spand falling off of it as you set off into the space sunset. And we just see slowly the credits starting to roll as we wrap up on this adventure filled with lasers and feelings. Thanks, everyone, for joining in here. You were all amazing in this. Thanks, all of you, for adding to the madness, adding to the chaos, bringing these delightful characters and this fun crew to a game. I love this game, and I love it especially when we have a bunch of people at a table who really lean into this and make a fun space adventure. But also, thanks to everyone who donated while we were playing. Yes. We've got so many donations and we had so many additional dice, but it's most importantly, we've raised at this point $1,000 for Trans Lifeline. Thank you, everyone, for adding on to that and for helping us in raising funds for this fantastic organization. Before we head out for this table, I want to give one more chance for everyone at the table to quickly tell us who they are, where we can find them, if there's anything where we can find you online. So I'm just going to quickly go around the table and starting again with Alice. Alice, tell us about yourself.
Hi guys, once again, I'm Alice Hart. You can find me online, usually Alice Hart, Hellion Hart. I can actually drop my card with all of my social media and all of my appearances. If you want to see more of me and for some reason don't want to watch the rest of the charity drive, which you should, I am going to be playing a game called The Light Side tonight on Sarah Does Stuff Twitch about 10-ish hours from now. Otherwise, you can check me out bi-weekly on the podcast Welcome to Reddington. I play Mitch Dims on Girls Run These Worlds every Tuesday for a few more weeks. And a few more streams coming up, both this Thursday, where I'm playing Yilfi on Nerds with Dice, and Sagas. Wait, wrong way around. Sagas is on Thursday with The Lost Caravan, and Yilfi is on Nerds with Dice on Friday. Very busy week.
Awesome. Definitely go and check Alice out and all of those cool things. Moving on to Milnet. Sorry, Alistair. Sorry, I am still in character name. Alistair, tell us about yourself, but you could feel free to also tell us about Milnet if you want to.
Oh yeah, Milnet's great, but I think that's his story done for now, at least. Yeah, I'm Alistair Trail. Don't really interact much on this on Twitch or podcast or anything, so got nothing really to promote per se. If you want to find me, I'm on the D8Dungeon Discord. I think I'm still on my default. Yep, my name's Bullet Magnet for some reason. I need to probably change that on the server. It's an in-joke, don't worry about it. But yeah, I don't really have anything particular to promote. Thank you everyone, again, for all your donations. It has been a great experience to be a part of this, and thanks, of course, to Marcus and everyone else here for, just a great couple hours.
Thank you very much for joining us for this, Alistair. And Richard, tell us about yourself.
This is the first time I've done anything like this. I'm on most social media at Lapinhero, Lapinhero. I really loved this. This was so much fun. And to everyone who sponated from the bottom of my heart, I love you.
Thank you so much, Richard. And Dara, where can we find you? Tell us about yourself.
I'm always annoying somewhere. But I'm Logan. You can find me mostly on Wired 99.9 FM every Thursdays, 11 to 1 o'clock. I should know that. I've been doing it for years. Irish time. Otherwise, I am on Twitter, usually CA Red Blair or Dazinator in other places. I just kind of bounce around and do films and audio and bits. If I ever have a project in the works, it's probably insane. So come along and follow and find out what I'm doing.
Awesome. Thanks, Dara, for being here. Thank all of you for being here. I am Marcus.
What about you?
Yeah, Marcus. Tell us about you, Marcus.
Thank you for reminding me. This is something that happens at every table. I can almost forget myself, but thank you for reminding. I'm Marcus. You can find me online practically everywhere as the Chindividual. I am usually to be found on Horde of Tales, a great European UK streaming group for tabletop RPGs, where on Tuesdays I run the Convergence Manifesto, which is a 5e Dungeons & Dragons adventure series set in the world of Eberron, where we have high-stakes, pulpy adventures with Warforged and strange magics and planar items, and it's a little bit more serious than what I run here today, but we also have some crazy hijinks, so if you like pulpy magical technological fantasy action, check us out over at twitch.tv/Horde of Tales every Tuesday, starting at 7 p.m. British Standard Time. And generally, I'm also over there producing, playing, and other things for Horde of Tales. And if you want to follow me, what I do, you can find me on Twitter as the Chindividual. And that's me. Thanks, everyone. We are going to set off into the sunset, the space sunset. But you should stick around for all the other great stuff that is coming this weekend. Please keep supporting this. And thanks, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day. And see you soon somewhere in space. Bye-bye.
Space.
Bye.